You are, according to me, but not only me, the number one journalist, resistant and independent in the United States, and your audience is all over the world. You have made a very amazing show which is called The High Wire, and you inform and you act and you sue also in justice with Aaron Siri, which is a wonderful lawyer.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, what is moving you? How do you get this energy?
I think more than anything, I'm working just on a natural, basic instinct that comes to a father. I am fighting to save a world so that I hand my children something I'm proud of and not something I've allowed to be destroyed. And especially when I think about freedom, I want my kids and I want their children to have the same freedom I was allowed when I grew up, and I believe that's being taken away from us by a globalist, authoritarian perspective of the world. And I am traveling the world now to try to speak to every parent. We must stand together now. We outnumber them. We have just got to say no. And otherwise, in our lifetime, we will see the results of our courage. If we are not courageous enough, it won't be left to a generation. It's not a dream. We will have to stare right at a world that we left our children, and we will have to atone for that. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to see what I become. I don't want to know what that feels like. I want to know I did everything I could.
A lot of persons live in fear. And they want to flee the country. They say, I will flee the country, I will flee France. What can you say to them?
Fear is, I think, comes from the belief that there is some other choice you could make, that to protect yourself or be in some situation. We're not. Now, all we have is to stand up and really fight for ourselves, because, and this is what I've been saying, I said at a screening last night, I can't guarantee you that we win, but I know if we do not stand up, we definitely lose. If we do not stand up right now, we will be living in a prison. They are essentially going to lock us into a prison. So if fear motivates you, if passion motivates you, whatever it is, but to sit afraid and do nothing, that is a futile thing to do.
And other persons think that everything is okay. They don't see anything. They don't see what is going on, what is arriving. What do you say to them?
Yeah, I think that's what I am most trying to do, is say everything is not okay. We should not accept this. We are about to enter really every dystopian novel we ever read, where we have no fertility. They decide who has babies. They decide who lives, who dies. They decide what we eat, whether we get meat or if we have to eat lab-grown whatever, Soylent Green, these stories that existed. We are right on the verge of that, and I'm saying this is the book we never read. We never read that prequel, that pre-story to how did we end up in 1984? How did we end up in Brave New World? How did we end up in Fahrenheit 451? It's right now. And I'm saying let's write a different ending to this story. You must realize no one wants to live in the world that we're going into. It is not okay. And for those people that can't wake up, they're not enough. They don't matter. What matters is those of us that do see it, that are passionate. Don't wait to be joined by those people. Go out and stand up now.
And how do you explain that when Trump has arrived to power, he was supposed to drain the swamp, and Kennedy was supposed to make the justice in health. And now what we have seen is that Trump is inviting Bill Gates at the White House, and now the FDA has lost the 3 heads which were nominated by Bobby Kennedy and replaced by people from Merck, which is the head of the snake, which is the big pharma. So how do you explain that?
I can't explain it other than change is harder than we think. I've watched Robert Kennedy Jr., who I worked very closely with. I was his director of communications. I know he hasn't changed. I know his ideals, and I know that he will fight to the end to achieve what needs to be achieved. They are surrounded by a corrupt government. And when you think of the swamp, you think the swamp is 10 people, a dozen people. I say Robert Kennedy Jr. has 50,000 employees at Health and Human Services. 49,995 of them don't agree with him. And so how do you change that? What do? You do the best you can. You try to make deals, you negotiate. I think Robert Kennedy Jr. has still achieved more than any HHS secretary we've had. We see real changes to our food supply. We see him taking chemicals out of our food. We see investigations into microplastics. We see forever chemicals. All of these things are now under review. We see vaccines that the FDA is now saying you must do a placebo-based trial, which you've never done before, to approve future vaccines. Will that stay? Will that last? We're hoping he's going to do a study like the one in my film, an inconvenience study, a vaccinated versus unvaccinated study. So instead of, I think, focusing on what isn't happening, this is how we become apathetic. We say, oh, well, it's not changed on a bigger level, so what can I do? And so we look at the negatives, we look at what's not happening. Instead of saying, there are positive things happening, then I must do my part too. And I will say, don't wait for Robert Kennedy Jr. to save the world. He's not Jesus Christ. He's a man in a very corrupt system. And right now, we really need to take this moment. As I've said, as I'm traveling, especially in France, I get it. There are real oppressions. You have real issues here. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, we are never going to have more freedom than we have right now. It's only going to get worse. We have the most amount of freedom right now in France you're ever going to have. You have the strongest voice right now you're ever going to have. We're the strongest we're ever going to be right now. We must take this opportunity because every day it's narrowing on us. And the more we wait for an opportunity to change, the more it will be out of our hands. Robert Kennedy Jr. has said many times, it is much easier to stop totalitarianism than to escape it once it's taken control. France is getting very, very close to totalitarianism, but talk to Poland.
I agree completely.
I was just in Poland. Less than 50% got the vaccine there. They saw it. They saw COVID. They said, this is just like communism. This is what we will never return to. Romania, one of the lowest vaccine rates in the world because they've already been there. Part of the problem with France and America is we are a free people. We don't know what it's like to live in totalitarianism, really, and slowly we are losing it. We must fight now. We win if we fight now. If we wait, they will imprison us.
Yeah, but the young generation are especially difficult to awake.
I have a different view of that. I think, I haven't had a time to speak with the youth in France, but in America, they don't trust the news at all. In America, they don't watch television. They don't watch the news. They're watching social media. They're getting their information from somewhere else. That makes me happy because the crime is being committed by mainstream media. The crime is being created by mainstream health. The crime is global WHO, the World Economic Forum, and I don't think our youth believe them at all. And so they're young. They maybe think everything will be okay, but I get a sense when you talk to a young person about AI, they're starting to reject where technology is going. They're starting to reject some of the control they feel in their technology. They don't like government leadership. Their only issue is they're being told they have no power. Right? So why even think about it? That's it. And our government does that to them. Our education system is doing that to them. It's telling them, you have no power, right? But it doesn't mean that they agree. And I think you're right. We've got to inspire them to recognize that, you've got to stand for what you have now or you'll lose it. But I actually think it'll be too late if we wait for the youth. This is in our hands. In the next 3 to 5 years, I believe is all that is left in this battle. And so it really is up to the generation that does know. It is up to us. We're going to have to face the decisions we've made.
Do you think there is a name, an objective behind the agenda?
What I keep saying is take them for their word. If Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, Tedros at the WHO, Joe Biden or Barack Obama, they all say we have too many people on the planet. We must reduce the population. And then in the next sentence they say, we really believe in vaccinating you. Put those two sentences together and then ask yourself, are vaccines really made for me to be healthy? Are they really made for me to live longer? Because they're telling me it's to make me live longer, but they are most committed to reducing the population. This is what I'm trying to show people, and this is what we're discovering in my investigation of vaccines. Today I was just doing an interview and they brought up the farms here, that they're forcibly now injecting the cattle, and the farmers are very upset, right? Well, let's look at that. Why do the cattle need to be vaccinated? They've been doing just fine. Since the dawn of man, cattle are fine. Why do they need to be injected? And then remember that the same people, Bill Gates, Barack Obama, are all saying no more meat. We're going to end you eating meat. You're going to eat maybe lab-grown food, synthetic food, ultra-processed food, but there'll be no meat eating in the future. And then the next sentence, we need to vaccinate your cattle. Wake up. Wake up. It is not being done for the cattle's health. It's not being done to save our food supply. They're telling you they don't want you to have the food supply you're using. The French people, you have the best food in the world. You eat meat, you eat vegetables, you make the greatest sauces, and they don't want that. They're going to take that culture from you. They're taking our diets away. They're taking our food away. They're taking our culture.
In your tour, in your Europe tour, what are the differences you see between Italy, Poland, France?
Poland is the most rebellious nation I've met. They all talk about the fact that they've tested their genes, and apparently they say we have a rebellion gene. Perhaps it's because they come from communism. Here in France, there seems to be more fear than I saw in Italy. Italy is, a little bit further along in fighting back, and all of you are behind where we are in America. And what I've said, though, when I travel the world, it appears almost the same percentage ignored the propaganda of COVID. About 30% in America didn't get the COVID vaccine. That's a very big number. 50% didn't get in Poland. I'm told 15% here, but then I talk to people like, we don't believe the numbers. We forged documents and people did all sorts of things. But even at 15%, they say that, historians say that every great change that has ever happened in politics, that has ever happened in the world, was driven by about a passionate 10 to 15% of the population. That is all that is needed to change a nation. So even if it is only 15% here in France, it is capable of changing the world. It's possible with only 15%. And so we can make change, but we have to recognize our power. All we have to achieve is recognize that we have a common enemy. Our enemy is a globalist authoritarian that doesn't want borders, that doesn't want national sovereignty, doesn't want personal sovereignty. Once we realize that, we are working together. Once we start fighting for our own sovereignty, we are fighting for each other's sovereignty. In America, that's why I'm here. We can't win it. If we're the only nation in the entire world, if the world all can attack one castle, one America, and we're the only ones that are going to say we believe in sovereignty, we won't win. But if a fire starts in France, and if a fire starts in Japan, and there's other castles start rising up with the truth, where they have to divide their energy and say, wait a minute, Now I have to fight on multiple fronts. That's the only way we win. And our children, I would say, are watching us now. Are they watching us be cowards? Are they watching us hide? Are they watching us live in fear? Are they watching us be intimidated? Because that is the message we're sending to them. Or are they seeing that we're fearless? Are they seeing that we believe in freedom? Are they seeing that we stand up for ourselves and our own freedom? That is how you teach the youth. You can't say the youth aren't doing anything. They're not going to make the change if you aren't making it. You can't be afraid and expect that they're going to fix this. Most of the people are like, where are the youth? What are you doing? Why are you worried about the youth? Did you get up today? Did you talk to somebody about the dangers of vaccines? Did you say we need to start considering that our body, we should be sovereign? What did you do today? Let's not worry. I think this is what we do. We sit and we analyze who's not doing what they're doing instead of, it starts with you. Don't worry about everyone else, right? We have to focus on what can I do today.
Can I show you my
Sure.
constellation?
Yeah. Only in French?
Yeah. For now, yes. And I
Only the French will know.
yeah. Here you have all the mapping of this pandemic. And those people, they were already in charge. You see, and they have everyone has a number, you know. So you see one.
Yeah.
One is Fauci. You can see him.
Yeah.
You know? So the job of Fauci is to get the money from the taxpayer
Yeah.
and from the Congress and from the White House. Number two are those ones which I call the tax foundations, or I call them predators, philanthropredators.
Yes, the philanthropic.
3 foundations, fiscal foundations,
Yeah.
Rockefeller, Bill Gates, and Jeremy Farrar.
Yeah.
I think Rockefeller is number 1.
Well, it starts with Rockefeller. His whole family is the beginning of medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Petroleum versus natural. No herbs, no homeopathy.
And they are still now, they are acting behind. They are discreet, but they still, they are the number 1, number 1, I think. Yeah. And that is number 2. And after you have the Chinese CDC.
Wow.
And the Chinese CDC was financed by the number 2, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
And Ralph Baric.
Ah, yes.
He has now refused his grants.
You can't say Bobby Kennedy and Trump aren't doing anything. He lost his grants. EcoHealth has lost their grants. So there's some swamp draining.
Some. I'm less optimistic than you, I think.
I know.
Yeah. Because they put Merck in place.
Yeah.
And Merck was the first. Merck was the pioneer of working and biodefense weapons with the army on the United States. It's Merck, originally.
Wow.
And now, the head of the FDA, the new head, is from Merck here. And him, George Gao, is still part of the GPMP, which is the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board, who they say to the WHO and the states what to do with the pandemic.
Wow.
And they say how to get the money. And how they create Gavi, CEPI, and so on. And Davos and Schwab is there to put in contact the public part with the private part. And the states here, they just get the feuille de route, we call it, you know?
Yeah.
They write everything, their PowerPoints. The states, they get the PowerPoints.
Yeah.
And then they apply to the hospitals, to the ONG, to the scientific press, media.
I like this, how you've laid this out. I mean, I've reported on each of these events, but my brain, I haven't spent the time to connect it the way you have here. I would like a copy of this. This is very good. But Fauci, so if Fauci's number 1, though, he's working for somebody because he's not a global leader. He led this disaster on some level.
Yeah.
But who is he? The they is like, but still, who's he working for? Military?
Yeah.
All military? International military?
No.
Or is it all driven by America?
American. It's a militaro-industrial complex. The militaro-industrial complex. Here, he has a double cap, because he oversees manipulation for
That's
the
true.
army. He's paid for that. His salary is higher than the salary of the president.
I know.
And he's paid some royalties on every paper which is published under the NIAID.
Yeah.
The institute gets money, but he himself, personally, he gets money too. So he's one of the richest men we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing work.
Yeah, and he was at the beginning of the AIDS problem.
Yeah.
And the AIDS narrative. He made the narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made the narrative. And he censored all the scientists who had questions. And he fired them, and he deprived them of any money and any grants. And it's terrible, because he makes the law everywhere in science.
It's true.
He controls everything in science.
The question is, this was still just who's up here. He's not running the world. He's running this operation.
Yeah.
Who does he work for?
Here you have the BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, State Street, and
That's all the money.
Here. They are here.
Yeah.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
And this one he works with Drosten, the German one, who made the test.
Uh-huh.
And with this one, Neil Ferguson, which is the English one. And when the government made the lockdowns, it was because of his study. Yeah. He was fault also on the H1N1 flu.
Right.
Swine flu.
Yep.
And H1N1 in 29 and 2010 was the first
Pandemic
attempt. And the CIA here, working, here you can see Avril Haines, which is part of the Event 201,
Yeah.
She's one of the actors in 201, and she was the head of the DNA of the Secret Service.
Wow.
And they control completely the Johns Hopkins University, which is funded and granted by the army. And you go back to the army. But the army is not all the army. Some persons in the army, they can make their money by taking the advantage of being in the army.
Wow.
And here are the biolabs of Ukraine. Here.
Do you think the Russia war has anything to do with this? Some people, conspiracy theorists, say this is one of the reasons, these biolabs, that Putin wants control of the biolabs.
A part, yes. But it's because NATO wants to get a grip on Ukraine.
I think sometimes we look at this and it becomes intimidating. Like, how do we stop this? How are we going to this? You've got the military involved. But also, when I see this, I think for them, COVID was a failure. I think it was all designed to have us using a vaccine passport. It was designed to get every adult in the world into a forced, mandated vaccine program. They didn't achieve it. They underestimated, I believe, the human spirit. I think they underestimated how chaotic we are. We're hard to control. And that's, I think they're regrouping. I think they've learned a lot. I think they've learned that approximately 30% of the world is immune to hypnosis. I believe that the media is good at hypnotizing people into a belief. I think Matthias Desmond's work is very interesting that way. But they failed to hypnotize enough people to fully achieve the goal. So what I'm saying to people is they're going to try again.
Yeah,
they
of course,
haven't stopped investing billions of dollars in the technology for vaccine passports, for social credit systems and all of this. They haven't stopped inventing mRNA vaccines, even though it's a total disaster and is causing heart attacks and blood clots and strokes. They're not stopping these things, which means, and they know every day we are growing. We are growing in our resistance, which means we are also accelerating their need to attack again, right? And so there's we call it in America, it's a game of chicken, you know, where you're both on the road driving right at each other. Who's going to pull off the road, or are we going to smash into each other? And that's why I keep saying we're strong. As soon as they attack, we will only be as strong as we are at that moment. We need all of the strength that we can get together now. All of the people that are not hypnotized, everyone that is awake, we must now recognize they underestimated us. And now we need to make them pay for that. We need to take back our world. We've got to recognize these people. Fauci is not an American. He's not working to the benefit of America. He's moved on. We also have an advantage. I don't think there's another Fauci. I don't think there's anyone to replace this guy. He is one of a kind. Look at Boris Johnson is not there. Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand is not there. We've taken out the Canadian Prime Minister. So many people that were players in this, the people have taken them out of power. So I keep saying, again, let's not focus on where we're weak. Let's see how much we've achieved. We are taking the battlefield. I keep saying every day, especially in America, I say this, but every day we are gaining ground right now. Don't worry about how much, battlefield is left in front of us. Just know that we are moving forward and they are moving backwards. That means we are in the offensive position, but we must pressure now like we never have before.